right, we are up and running, my friend.
I feel good about it, Tom.
We got a new name
today.
Sorry, say that again. I had you.
I said I feel good today. We have a new name. Our new name is not the smartest guys in the room, and we'll talk about that. But we admittedly, one thing me and Tom know, that we are not the smartest guys in the room. So every week we bring in experts in media and publishing and podcasting and things we don't know about. Well, Tom might know about making great videos or the work he did on MTV, and I could tell you about publishing algorithms. We need you guys to contribute because there's things we don't know, like Google Analytics or hashtag algorithms, like we had someone like Heather was talking about last week, or things Dr. Tachi talks about. So we will dig into those, Tom. Good morning, and good morning, everybody who is here right now.
Good morning, Dom. Yeah, I 100% agree. Like, I think that's the not only is it true that we're not the smartest guys in the room, but I also look at that as sort of a goal, right? Like, I don't want to be the smartest guy in the room. I want to surround myself with people smarter than me so that I can continue always to learn and grow and improve, right? Because if I am placing myself in spaces where I can't learn from people because I'm the sort of leading expert in the space that I'm in, or I don't have the opportunity to learn from people because I'm not putting myself in the same spaces as people who have expertise outside of my own, then I'm kind of failing, right? So I see this as, not just a commentary on the fact that, at least I'll speak for myself personally, that I can be a dum-dum from time to time. The fact that I want to be surrounded by people that are smarter than me so that I can learn, so that I can improve, so that I can grow as a person, both in my own personal life, but professionally as well. Right. Because the two are very much intertwined. So that's how I see it. I think the title is both an obvious statement of fact, but also kind of a call to action. Right. What do you think about that? Does it count? Is it a call to action?
I think it is a good call to action. We need some experts. We're admitting we want to learn. Come, share your expertise, share your knowledge, share your struggle. All that stuff helps us, Tom. So what are you working on, Tom?
Oh, I got a bunch of things. I've always got like a bunch of irons in the fire, right? Because that's the way I am. I'm Becky sometimes, I don't know. I would say affectionately and also somewhat derisively refers to me as like Mr. Project, because I have a bad habit of like starting 18 projects at once, and then often by virtue of doing that, like I have a hard time seeing them all through to completion. So all that to say, I always have about 17 things going on. But what I'm most excited about right now are a couple of things that are all sort of like intertwined. Right. So I have, I've talked about it before. Obviously I have a book that I'm working on. I have the first draft of the manuscript is done. We're now working on editing that. I'm actually reaching out to some folks and setting up some interviews with some experts in different fields to kind of help bolster out the sort of 5 directives of legendeering as we've laid them out in the book. So super excited about that. We were actually just emailing back and forth with the publisher on cover art yesterday. So that's super exciting. It's like starting to really feel real, which is super cool. And then the other thing that I'm doing in conjunction with that is obviously talking to a bunch of folks about potential clients about legendeering, about working together to create some legendeer content for their brands to help build community around their brands. And then in conjunction with all of that, I started a new vlog. A lot of folks who've listened to us before, who've been in this space with us before, have been in the room on Clubhouse or watched any of the live streams, know that I'm currently training for a marathon after training for an Ironman earlier this year. So I do a daily vlog of that training. And then I decided, you know what? That's worked so well in creating accountability for myself and sharing my journey with my community. I decided to start doing a vlog on my sort of overarching mission to humanize the world of business through better communication. So I started a vlog that I'm simply calling Changing the World. And today is going to be day 5 of the vlog. I'm not going to be able to do it every day 100%. I kind of acknowledged that in the first iteration, but I'm going to do my best to show up every day as close as possible to every day as I can, and to keep moving forward and taking concrete steps towards changing the world and making the world of business a better place to be, because at the end of the day, we all have to interact with businesses. We have to, right? There is no avoiding that. There is no escaping that. And so if we make the world of business and the way businesses interact with their communities better, then we make the world better by extension. And so that's what I'm working on. Just little things.
A little bit there, huh? Just going to change the world, and honorable goal. And why not, man? It just takes one person to create those ripples of change. So why not you? I had a
Just
buddy.
takes one person to kick over the first domino, but then I need like that. And that's part of the reason why I'm talking about it while I'm doing the vlog. That's the other side, besides creating accountability for myself to make sure that I'm taking those concrete steps every day. It's also because I need help, right? I am never going to be successful in changing the world as one person standing alone. I need help. I need a community. I need support. I need other people to further that mission along with me, who also believe that we can have better relationships with the companies that we interact with on a daily basis. So that's part of it too, is it's about creating accountability for myself, but it's also a call to action and about building community to sort of help make this change possible. Because look, I'm just a knucklehead from New York. There's no way I'm going to change the world by myself. Ain't going to happen. I need help.
Yeah, man. I'm always I always think of this line that it is alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. And think about like Tom getting other people involved in the mission. Well, I want business to be something that's not dirty, that's kind, where people help each other, where we lift all boats. I mean, I get it. So Tom, we changed the name. Julie, you were part of this. David, everybody in here, Richard, Holly, we changed the name. We started a podcast too. So we stream this. Now we're going to podcast this as well. That was Tom's idea. It is not the smartest guys in the room. And still, we're talking podcast and we're talking Clubhouse, we're talking social media. But since you see me and Tom here every week and we run through and meet new people and stuff, we want you to know that we do not think we know it all. We welcome other opinions. We welcome conversation. We welcome discussion. And it is an open discussion. Just because there is no right, there is no wrong, there is no greater than, there is no less than. What we don't do is just attack other people. Hey, you got an idea? Here's what we say. Okay, good. Let's hear it. Okay, Cynthia, what are you doing? Let's talk about what you're doing to move the ball forward with whatever you're working on. What's a little thing you're doing to move that ball forward? We talk about consistency a lot, or maybe even something that you're struggling with, and we'll open that subject up. So hello, Cynthia, Julie, thanks for jumping up. Anybody else who wants to come up, go ahead. Cynthia, what's happening today?
Moving my world forward, I'm trying to help people change their mindset through hypnosis, changing the subconscious or the unconscious, who really is like a 5-year-old going, oh, you want this? Okay, you want it, so I'm not going to give it to you because you want it. And when you constantly degrade yourself, then that 5-year-old in the control tower of the subconscious says, oh, you want to be worthless, you want to be okay, we will have people treat you that way. Well, when you're ready to flip that, I want to have on my YouTube channel different hypnosis sessions, because usually the first couple of times you listen to hypnosis, you don't know the person, so you're not going to be engaged and actually follow the words. You're going to listen to what they have to say to make sure that you're in agreement. So those are going to be short ones, and they'll be on confidence, self-image, so that it'll be easier for you to go to the next level when you really become committed to it. And I'm stepping off my soapbox now.
Hey,
Thanks.
Cynthia, have you started the YouTube channel?
I did, and then I had some health issues, and so it went dormant because I was doing a one woman show. I didn't have anyone help me be able to, continue on. Now that I found Clubhouse, I have set other things in place to help me in case something that would happen like that again. I lost a year and a half. This was my own stupidity. I lost a year and a half of podcast because I didn't realize places like Libsyn and Anchor FM were a thing. So I had them on my website that took a hard crash and couldn't be recovered.
Yikes. Okay, Cynthia, we're gonna talk about that. How do you get more YouTube content out? That we don't make that mistake with our video, with our content, storing it somewhere where it's. I always tell people in the publishing world with their books and stuff, like somebody will be like, I have 5 notebooks, I have 12 notebooks of my book. And I as a publisher, I panic when I hear that. I'm like, oh man. Well, your next goal today is store that thing as many different places as you can, rather than that notebook that I've seen get wet in people's car, get lost. Even fires take those notebooks away. Same with computers, they crash. Make sure you're saving it on flash drives. Make sure you're saving it in your hard drive. Make sure you're emailing your story to your friends periodically. Make sure you're printing it out. Anything you can do to save those documents. That's in my world. So, Cynthia, we
my
hear
first
you.
book, I lost in a flood.
Yeah,
You're
it's
right.
it's like
Back
it's not that uncommon, right? These are important
Right.
things that people cherish. Shit happens. Excuse my language. It happens. So you need to prepare for these types of things and say, okay, well, like I like Julie with MediaCasters. We'll go to her on this. Julie's business model is getting things off of social and having MediaCasters with all her content there, because you don't own the Facebooks, you don't own the Instagrams, you don't own the YouTubes. Then what? What happens if they crash and things like that? So, or all of a sudden charge, or all of a sudden say, hey, $8 for your whatever name, or for your check mark. So, Julie, where do you weigh in on all this? Go on, Tom. Hold on.
Well, I was
Yeah.
just going to say, right before you said $8 for your check mark, I was just about to say, look what's going on with Twitter, right? Like, everybody has kind of thought of Twitter as like, just like a lot of people think of like Facebook, Instagram, now TikTok, Clubhouse, right? All of these platforms people think of as sort of these set in stone or concrete um, uh, 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 I don't know, edifices, institutions is actually the word I was looking for, right? So everybody thinks of them as these concrete institutions. But as we can see with what's going on with Twitter right now, all you need is one guy with too much money and not enough sense, and you can have things go sideways real fast, right? And guess what? Most of these social media platforms are controlled by one guy with too much money and not enough sense. So just something to bear in mind and keep in the back of your head, right? And sorry, I jumped in, Julie, before you had a chance to talk. I will throw it to you now. I want to hear what you have to say about getting off of other people's platforms.
Thanks, guys. And I guess I am not really keeping abreast on Elon Musk and all the craziness going on in Twitter. But yeah, I mean, going back to the old fashioned way. I mean, what's most important? Building that email list and website. I'm so sorry, Cynthia. That's horrible. What a nightmare that happened. Maybe we're too dependent on technology. I'm not quite sure. But, I find myself there, and I've seen it a lot. People's social media getting hacked, and they're so dependent on it, they don't know what to do when it disappears. So that's kind of why I've migrated a little bit over to Mighty Networks to create an area where your people all can reside, support, and it's really a hybrid. But something could happen to that. So we just never know. It's always having a backup plan. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Julie. And books are something like that as well, where the book will stand if the computers all go down. The book is still there. If 20 years from now people are like, it's not good to look at that little screen anymore, that's bad for you, all of a sudden, hey, books are still there. And then if that goes down, maybe, you know what we could all do? This is a crazy idea, since we're here on Clubhouse all together. We could do in-person events. We could go places and we could meet people. We could shake their hands. We could look them in the eyes. So those
I can't wait for that.
who said that?
Lois.
Lois. Okay. Well, I mean, why can't we have events? Why can't we go out and do things like that, network in different places? So,
yeah. Oh, we definitely can. We definitely can. We got to start building that. That was the most amazing thing when I got to meet my people from Ever Mindful, or even in Clubhouse in general. That was just the most amazing and one of many of my fond memories.
excellent. Okay, let's continue this subject. Okay, Heather, weigh in, ask a question, drop a tip, wherever you want to go with this. Go on, Heather, our master of hashtags. You really had the room up in arms last week when you were given hashtag knowledge. Go on.
I'm so dead. Oh my gosh. That's so funny. And I am passionate about hashtags because I've been hashtags are never going away and they're actually expanding. So, but yeah, thanks guys for having me. I actually am super stoked because in 12 minutes I'm gonna be on the news, so that's awesome. So I gotta repurpose that when I get it right, and that's where I wanted to talk about was the repurposing of it, because you can have your content on Instagram. You have your short form videos on Instagram, but then Instagram goes down. Well, then you're just going to have to start all over again on the other platforms, and if Instagram goes down, do you have a backup of all of those videos, right? So that's why I think omnipresence is important, and making content not just for one platform, but for the internet itself, for your real estate, for your website, put all of your stuff on your website, so then if ish does go down, then you know what I mean, you have a place where people can still consume your content. I first got into WordPress website design. I'm laughing because I went onto the Wayback Machine. I don't know if you know what Wayback Machine is. It's the Internet Archive, and you can type in any website and see if it's been archived. So I used to I would go to Disney.com and see what it looked like in 1996. It's so great. But I actually looked at my old website, and I first started offering WordPress website design because social media wasn't such a big thing at that point, and people consumed content on your website. That's where you would search for you, and there was no other place to find you except Google, or if you were listed somewhere in a directory. But and so just making content for the internet itself, for your website itself, I think is easier than creating content just for one platform. So that's why if you look me up on any using a hashtag, using my branded hashtag, if you just literally type in my branded hashtag on Google or any platform, I will pop up. And that's because that's for a reason. So I'm not beholden to just one platform. because if I was just beholden to Twitter, like I would be losing my brain right now over what is happening with Elon Musk. So yeah, thanks for having me. This is a great conversation.
I just want to jump in there, Dom, for a second, because I think Heather was hitting on something that's incredibly important that is often overlooked, and something that I come across in a lot of my conversations with clients is we'll be talking about creating content, and then they'll ask me, okay, so where do we put this video or these videos? Do we put them on YouTube? Sure. Right? Do we put them on Facebook? Yes. Do we put them on our website? Definitely. Right? Like, and often the answer is, over and over and over again, when they ask where to put it, my answer is yes. Right? Because at the end of the day, you should always be working towards making yourself, your content, your brand, your business, whatever you're representing, whatever you're creating the content for, easier for people to find. Right? Stop making it difficult for people to find things. One of the easy ways to make people to find things is hashtags, right? Another easy way is using the same handle across all of your different media platforms, right? So like I see people all the time, they're like, on Twitter I'm this, on Facebook I'm this, on LinkedIn I'm this. I'm the same thing on every platform. If you search me on any platform here, Instagram, if you just type my handle into Google, it'll populate the whole page of all the places you can find Talix Media and Tom Langan online. If you just type in at Talix Media LLC, boom, you get a whole page of Google results of where you can find Talix Media, right? And that's because I want it to be real easy for people to find my business, right? Like, I'm not trying to make it difficult, but people don't think about that. Like, it's just like hanging a sign out in front of your physical brick and mortar location, right? Do you want the sign to be easy to read, or do you want it in some sort of, do you want to make a sign in cuneiform that nobody can possibly interpret, right? No, that was a weird, obscure reference, but it was the first thing that popped into my head. Anyway, like, do you want your sign to be, we're here in the US, so in English or like Sanskrit, which makes more sense, right? Like, put the big sign out in English so people can read it and they can find you and they know where to look for you, right? Like, it seems like common sense, but a lot of people just don't think about it. So, and I saw Heather clapping for that. So hopefully that furthered what she was talking about, but I wanted to chime in with my, my couple of pennies to rub together on that one. I'll throw it back to you now.
No, love it, man. Loving the conversation. Thank you all. Not the smartest guys in the room. That's the reset. That's the new name. I also wanted to jump in on that subject of when you're naming like your handle across the board. I have a problem when people make it one product, meaning you maybe you're going to write 10 books. Maybe Tom's Talix Media. He does a lot of things. So when people make it too small and then they grow over the years, now you have a growing problem. Like if you would name it based after one book or one item you sold, now 3 years from now, you decide to scale up or do more things. Does that one little name represent you anymore? And I think people have to, when they're choosing these handles, have to think big picture. Where do you want to go? And when I'm looking, today it'd be like, think when you were in college. At college is when I got my first email, I think. And I'm like, oh, this will be my email. It was like Dom Hot Pants or something, whatever my first email was. You're looking at things that day and then not looking at the big picture. And I think that's a mistake we could make. Okay, we got Lois, Debbie, Gary up on the stage here. Lois, what's going on today? Where are you weighing on all this? That means my transition was bad, Tom.
That's good.
Well, I don't think it was that. She said in the chat that she's listening from work, so she might be okay. Occupied.
Understood. See, we need a chat monitor. We need a chat monitor.
I mean, I can look at it, so I'll keep an eye on it. I'll keep an eye
I'm
on
not
it.
good at it. I go in a couple times and then I'm like, well, that would have been a good subject to talk about. So feel
And
free to say, go on.
Simon Buckton down there says, our friend from across the pond says he's laughing at the title. So
Simon, are you already? He already have an afternoon tea? He may be. He taught us about his teas last year,
no,
and what,
coffee. It was coffee. Afternoon coffee. He was talking about coffee.
and then
He
on
corrected
other.
us, right? Tea is northern. Tea is
Yeah.
more of a northern England thing, and coffee is more of a London thing. And Simon is more of a coffee guy. I remember that from last week.
And Tom looks like he's drinking some coffee there. And I got in trouble for drinking Diet Mountain Dew last week. Okay, Gary, you were flashing. We're going to go to Gary, then Debbie. What do we got, Gary?
Hi, Dominic, and hi, Julie. Thanks for inviting me to the room and bringing me on stage. I want to say that I want to chime in first on the topic. There definitely is a threat to content producer because you find that social media owners and managers, they have the last say in terms of our content out there. But there's a couple of things that I want to say. The primary focus of content production is part of it is centered around visibility, and I do believe that there's multiple platforms and where we can get visibility from. I'm just going to quickly go through them. um, Mass marketing media, we have radio, television, newspaper, but most social media content tend to back away from this, perhaps because of the costs associated with it. But is there creative ways to still leverage these mass media platform? I do believe that there is creative ways in which you can leverage them, divorced from the high cost, or developing strategic game plans around those costs. Um, Social media today, we have the various type of social media platforms, including the metaverse, and that brings me to the point of the urgency and the necessity of also looking at independent communication platform. Now, I do believe that as content producers, if we can identify ways to coexist on all of these platforms, it will definitely help not only with visibility, it will help with reach, impact, conversion, building confidence, trust, and ultimately credibility. Um, the one that I would want to really play up heavily here is us having the independent communication platform. A quick definition of what that is. Um, you want to leverage all the various mass media, social media, metaverse platforms as a funnel. And the funnel, they're all going to your independent communication platforms. So if an independent social media manager decide to flip the switch on you, you already have your funnel, you already have your independence um, platform set up. But as we look at our independent communication platforms as a mechanism, as a safety net for our social content, I believe that is a couple of things that we should keep in mind: the process, the benefits, the costs, and the team and application. Because even as we think of building out independent communication platforms, um, these are all factors that will influence how successful we're going to be um, in setting this up. Gary, and I yield the mic back to you, Dominic.
Hey, Gary, man, we appreciate you, and I think that's we've been discussing this a little bit. Like Julie has her media casters, and we were talking about ways like publishing in books to take things off email lists, to take things away from social media. So all good points. Hey, I got a question. I'm wondering. I hate when I say that. I got a question. I hate it. Okay, so and then I'm going to say the question is, yeah, so dumb. Okay, how many of you guys take your short form content and put it on your website? Like I understand a lot of us put our like this long videos and stuff like that. Do anybody take like clips and put them on their websites and
Hey
stuff?
Dom, I do. I actually love embedding I have a page. I think it's called like You Found Heather Cox Codes on YouTube or on TikTok. It's a page on my website that if you search, I think Heather Cox Codes TikTok, it brings it to that page. And then I've embedded a couple of my videos from like a year ago, like one of my like a few of my most like viral ones or whatever. And I put them on there, and then it's like a call to action to follow me on TikTok. So yes, I do embed the short because it's so great. Like it gives you the embed code, so why not?
Okay, so what I was wondering, a step further, how many people take short form, like Dr. Tachi talks about being platform agnostic, and Tom said that before. How many people take the short form content that they've made on their computer before they moved it to a Reels or a TikTok and put it on their computer so that it's not embedded by TikTok? What do you think about that, Heather? Crickets. I get crickets on that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My husband was talking to me right when you were talking to me. We both work from home, so I'm sorry.
No, I understood. And we sometimes I'm in the basement and my wife's on the second floor, and sometimes she'll knock on the door all of a sudden the door opens and the dog comes in the room. I'm like, what the heck does that mean? So anyway, what I was asking Heather is, what about short form content that doesn't have the real embed, or it doesn't have the TikTok embed? So rather than giving those apps that could die that are on your site, it could go the way of the vine. Just putting
Yeah, no, I mean, if you have the original, then totally upload it to whatever website you have and embed it with like a short code or whatever HTML coding you want to use for that video or whatever video player you have for your website. Totally. I mean, why not? Because if you have that video and things go down, why not? It's kind of like an archive of all your stuff. So, but that's a lot of work.
Yeah,
I mean, I would probably hire somebody to do that for me.
I agree. And that's why, like, sometimes in these rooms, people will be like, well, like, let's say platform agnostic. Love it. Get it. Understand it. But sometimes I just want you to put something out. You made a good video one place, put it out the other place. I'd rather you put it out than not put it out. I get it if you have time to whittle them all down and scrub these logos and things like that. But if your message was good on it, maybe you should just put it out. Understanding it isn't going to get the reach of something that doesn't have those branded marks on them. So, okay, we are not the smartest guys. Tom, go on. Tom may be the smartest guy in the room.
I'm sure I'm not. I'd be willing to bet. I think the thing, the other option here too for people is you can use a platform, so you don't have to like individually upload each video to your website, and because some website hosting platforms don't do well with like natively hosting video. They actually prefer to have embedded content, and so a way around that is to use a service like Vimeo, where you pay a couple of bucks a month, but they are basically it's sort of a platform that you're paying for ownership in, right? So it's not it's a very different situation to like trying to host your videos on a social media platform where you're the commodity, right? Where your time and attention is the commodity. On a platform like Vimeo, it's a video hosting platform. And if you pay a couple of bucks a month, you get access to some professional features and things that you can use to sort of embed video content and put it in other places, including on your website. So that's one way. And then the other side too is like, YouTube is not going anywhere anytime soon. It'll evolve over time like any platform does. But at the end of the day, remember that YouTube is not a social media platform. YouTube is really at its core a search engine, right? That traffics in video, right, as the commodity that you search, right? They're a video hosting platform that functions like a search engine. And YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world behind Google. So just remember that YouTube's probably not going anywhere. It's a relatively safe bet to host content on YouTube. But then also always keep a copy somewhere else, right? On another drive, preferably 2 copies on 2 separate drives, right? For redundancy, so that you always can revert back to the original copy of that content, so that you always have it to re-upload it, to repost it, et cetera, if and when some of these platforms go defunct or go the way of Vine, like you said before, which apparently now Elon's thinking about bringing back. He doesn't even know what he's doing. I was going to say, I have no idea what he's doing. He doesn't even know what he's doing.
Fair enough. And I have videos that I lost as well, that I used to store them on. I stored them on whatever app I was using. So once I saw them on that app, I deleted the hard ones from whatever drive, because I'm like, well, they're on this app. And then sometimes I went in and deleted them from the app because the app was saying I was using up too much storage. But these videos were like precious videos, and deleting them at any point was dumb, because sometimes I deleted them both places, and I regret that I don't have these, because I love long form content, because I can use it and break it down for years and years and years. I can break a 30-minute video down into hundreds of clips. So, and then use it different way with music, with not. Okay, we're going to meet my friend Debbie Griffiths. Just wrote a book, Torched, Burnt by a Gaslighter. Debbie is now on TikTok as well, making videos. And we were talking about the creative of it, Debbie. So why don't you tell us about that process, and maybe some reservations you have, and maybe some things you like about sharing your story that way. Go on, Debbie. No pressure here.
Oh, no pressure at all. Good morning, everyone. Yes, I just got onto TikTok. I broke down and trying, and I got on it, and I had just been playing around with creating little videos as a way to try to promote my book. And it's kind of fun, but I have a lot to learn. And I love the name for this group. Not the smartest guys in the room, because I definitely am not. And I get so much wealth of information, just listening to you all every week. So I do appreciate it. So with TikTok, I'm just taking my time learning and building up that social media platform. Continue to build up on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. I have a few things on Twitter. Haven't really promoted that much in the last few years. And actually, I have a question for Heather. She brought up hashtags, and I have a website that is also helping to promote the book, called Broken to Boldness. So I've been using that hashtag Broken to Boldness, but do I need to brand that? And if so, how do you go about doing that? So I'm landing my plane.
So the question, Heather might be talking to her husband again. That's what she said. So the question to Heather is, how do you brand the hashtag? How do you brand the hashtag on your website? So Heather,
Yeah,
what do you think about that?
Yeah, so my business is Heather Cox Codes. So my hashtag would be Heather Cox Codes. So my podcast is called Into the Black, but there were a lot of people who used hashtag Into the Black. So what did I do? I thought about it and I was like, okay, how can I make this the most unique hashtag out there so that when people search it, now it may be a little more difficult to search because of the way I wrote it, but I'm like hammering it into people's brains. It's hashtag Into the Black, but the I is a 1 and the O is a 0. So that makes it super, like, it's mine. Like, nobody else is going to ever use that hashtag except for my brand, my podcast. So, and I use that hashtag on my bio on my Instagram. I use it every time I post a video, over on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. I always use that hashtag because it categorizes everything. It puts it under that hashtag Into the Black category. And then you should also use the hashtag on your website. So like I put it on the link in my bio page that I've created on my website. I put it in the footer of my website. I even put it on my clients' websites in the footer, because when I make their website, they have a little thing at the bottom, really small, that says website managed and created by hashtag Heather Cox Codes. So just think of the most unique hashtag that you can create and be very consistent with it across all of your pages, all of your profiles, all of your websites. And then, it'll be easier for people to find you.
Heather, you're teaching class again. So are you
Sorry.
and we want this. And you're going to be like, well, guys, I'm charging you. So forget it.
Stop,
So
never. This is
are
a
you,
group effort. That's why I love Clubhouse.
so in every post, so let's say if I'm posting 20 times a day, 6 times a day, are you suggesting that I should put hashtag motivation champs in every one of those posts at least, because, because
Yes.
on some you're saying, well, you can't use as many hashtags, use less, use more, but you're saying the branded hashtag is like a no-brainer. You have to use that every
Yes, the
time.
branded hashtag always. Like with my content with Heather Cox Codes, and like I'll differentiate and go back and forth between my content. So like I'll post a tip for social media that day, and I'll put hashtag Heather Cox Codes. But then the reel that I'm posting about my podcast Into the Black, I'll use that hashtag over there. So you just got to think about how you're using it. But yeah, use it every day. You're not going to get like knocked for it unless you use the same set of 10. Like if you use the same set of 10 in the same order every day, eventually you're going to get shadow banned. So that's why you need to always change up your hashtags, always. Like, but keep your branded, but all the other ones that are describing your content, that are like talking about your content, that are categorizing your content, you have to change up or you're going to get shadow banned.
Fantastic. Thank you, Heather. Debbie, back to you. What do you think about Heather's hashtag lessons? Lessons. That's a weird word.
I absolutely love it. Thank you so much, Heather. And it's great information. And I learned a lot about that and hashtags. So thank you.
Heather, what do you think about other people using your hashtags? Like we have a dear friend who, me and Tom have a dear friend. One of his hashtags is "We rise by lifting others up." Love the hashtag. It's sharing positivity and stuff like that. So sometimes I share a piece of content that I think meets on his mission, and I use a hashtag to also get other people to use that hashtag.
I mean, if there's like if there's a popular hashtag, like, okay, let's say during the World Series, a lot of people in the tri-state area, Philadelphia, Delaware County, that's where I live. I live like in the tri-state area. They were using hashtag grease the poles because people were greasing the poles in the city of Philly because people were going to climb the poles. So we actually use, like, in some of our social media campaigns for a restaurant that is in the tri-state area, we used hashtag grease the poles because a lot of people were searching that hashtag, and why not get a restaurant a little bit more visibility when people are searching that hashtag during the World Series, right? So there's a lot of ways in which you can use a hashtag that can help elevate, but at the same time, you don't want to like snipe somebody else's hashtag if it's been used a lot. I've seen that happen. And then there's like two brands dueling for a single branded hashtag, which is kind of silly. So just make sure it's super unique when you start.
Interesting. And this, like, I did a video with a local place about a year ago, and they did Christmas lights. They have like this big Christmas light show at their house. And so, like, I would hashtag everywhere I could, hashtag Christmas lights, hashtag holiday lights, like that, like that. And all of a sudden, they called me one day and somebody found them. They're going to be on like Christmas lights battles this year on NBC or something like that. And they said they found their video that we had done with them the year before. And you wonder, hey, was it because they were just pushed hashtag Christmas lights, and the 60th piece of content there was the video we made with them about Christmas lights. So I feel there is value, like you said, about the grease the poles, right? If you can figure out how you apply to that hashtag at all without stretching, so you're not just put in like teenage girl makeup. You know what I mean? That's probably not the hashtag that I should be using, but if when I'm doing a video about Christmas lights, probably a fair thing to do. Okay, let's go back to this TikTok. Go on, Tom. What do you want to add?
Dom, I just want to. I wanted to see if I could ask a question as your fellow, not the smartest guy. I have a question too around this topic. So I hear this term shadow ban getting thrown around all the time, right? I know it was something that like Neil used to be very concerned about. For those of you listening, Neil and Dom initially started this room that I then became a part of with both of them. Then Neil went on to do other things, and Dom and I took it over, and now we've sort of recast it in our own image as not the smartest guys in the room. But so here's my question: is like, what do you mean when you say shadow banned? And this is sort of specifically targeted at Heather, but Dom, you can obviously chime in too, because I've heard you use this term a lot. What specifically do you mean when you say shadow banned? And Heather, how would you recommend switching up hashtags if you do it? Like, for example, I do a daily vlog, and like maybe I'm an idiot for doing this, but I've been using the same hashtags for that daily training vlog for like months, right? So like, how would you recommend I swap up those hashtags when those videos are sort of, they are in some ways repetitious, each one is unique, but they're kind of covering a similar topic every time. So like, how would you recommend changing those up, and what do you mean by shadow banning more specifically?
Yeah, so in regards to like the shadow banning, hold on, I'm the thing that I'm on TV is live, so like I'm recording it on my phone, so I got to walk to the other room. So if you lose me, I apologize. But in regards to the hashtags and using them every time, if you've been using them for months, I would change them up immediately. And you can use for Instagram, right? Let's say you can use up to 30. Well, you can use all 30 and you can describe the content in different ways. So, case in point, hashtag burgers on Instagram is a flagged hashtag. Burgers, like you're not, and also Valentine's Day, hashtag Valentine's Day is a shadow banned hashtag. Don't use it because you're gonna get flagged because it's a banned hashtag. Instagram does not want you using it because people overuse it in like nefarious ways. And there's a whole list out there of banned hashtags. So if you look up banned hashtags 2023, I would assume, since we're at the end of the year, definitely look that up. But I work with a lot of restaurants and I can't use hashtag burgers. So what would I use instead? Hashtag burger lover, hashtag burgersgram, because it's like Instagram, like burgergram, hashtag burgers of Instagram, hashtag double patty burger, hashtag cheeseburger, hashtag bacon cheeseburger. Like there's play word association with yourself with these hashtags. So how niche down can you get? You can say hashtag Christmas lights, but you can say hashtag white Christmas lights, hashtag blue Christmas lights. Like you can think about how niche down you can get. And a lot of these like bigger hashtags, like hashtag Christmas lights, there's like 1.5 million uses on it. And I bet you during the Christmas season, a lot of people are using it. So that feed gets updated faster. You want a slower moving hashtag so that like your content sticks to that hashtag feed over on Instagram longer, right? It's like a longer scroll instead of like people, like literally, if you go look for like a really popular hashtag, like if you just keep pulling down and refreshing, like new content's going to pop up faster and faster because it's such a widely used hashtag. So switch up your sets. Like I do it. So there's hashtag slayer.com. That's awesome. I know the creator of it. His name is Matt. He's pretty dope. He's also a WordPress website designer. And then there's also for display purposes.com. That's also a hashtag researcher. And then also research directly in Instagram or whatever platform you're using, like YouTube Shorts. Like yesterday, I was putting hashtags in for YouTube Shorts, and I put in hashtag women in business. But then I was like, oh, I could do hashtag women owned business, and that just put me in a whole new category. So think about how you could switch it up, which will switch up your hashtag sets. and which will like get more eyes and eyeballs, because you don't want to be marketing to the same people, essentially the same eyeballs all the time. You want new hashtags to bring in new people and to be categorized in multiple categories. Okay, I'm done spewing my hashtags.
Thanks. I appreciate it. It's definitely helpful, and something I will start doing for sure is switching up those hashtags. So I pulled up hashtag Slayer, your friend's website, but I'll be looking at, some hashtag generating platforms and yeah, it's one of those things. Cause like I simply haven't done it because, on the surface, I'm like, well, how many different hashtags can I think of? And I'm posting these videos on a daily basis. So like it becomes a real, sort of creative, suck to try to come up with.
So I would say if you created a set, like this is what I do, and we do, I have 4 or 5 people helping me with my business, but if you go to Google Docs and create yourself a hashtag strategy document, and then you can just create sets of hashtags. So like I'll do a location set. So let's say if I have a restaurant in Delaware, my location sets would be hashtag Delaware, hashtag Newark, Delaware, hashtag Wilmington, Delaware, hashtag NetDE, hashtag It's Time WilmDE, hashtag Delaware restaurants. Then let's say the food I'm talking about, hashtag American food, hashtag burger life, hashtag burger lover, hashtag charcuterie, hashtag craft beer. You know what I mean? So like think about those different categories of your content and then write hashtags based on those categories, and then just literally like switch them up. You know what I mean? Keep the branded, but like switch up the hashtags that you use. You know that they're good hashtags. You can even do the research on them after you're done writing them. But having a Google Doc where you could just like copy and paste a bunch of sets is much easier than having to think of hashtags on the fly. I mean, I love thinking about hashtags on the fly. You can give me any subject and I'll sit here and I'll spew hashtags all day long. But because I've been doing it for so long, so I speak in hashtag. But, having a hashtag sets for your brand and for your business is super important, so you don't get stuck in that like copy paste of just one set.
Awesome. Thank you. I love that. I love that idea. Perfect. See, this is like it's all coming true. It's coming into like coming to life, right? It's coming to fruition. Like we are not the smartest guys in the room, and now I'm getting advice about how to help my content reach a broader audience from Heather, who is obviously smarter than me, especially when it comes to hashtags. So thank you so much, Heather. Really appreciate all that advice.
Thank you for letting me geek out, because I really like to geek out.
Oh, we love the geek. I mean, that's what we do here. I mean, we want to dig into the details because somebody studied the details for so long. They know those things that they can just break it down. Like I'm one that I put links in post. I use links in post. I hate links in post. So when I'm talking to people, I need them to know that links will hurt your post. Facebook doesn't want you taking people off their site to YouTube. Instagram doesn't want you taking people off their site. It's basically Facebook. TikTok doesn't want you. All these people to think that you're going to take people. LinkedIn. I'm going to put a video that takes you to my YouTube. I'm going to put a video that takes you to Amazon to buy things. They don't like that. So sometimes you hurt yourself when we talk shadow ban too. You hurt yourself with future algorithm. They just add one little multiply it times one more thing at the end. And the multiplication is, this guy takes people off our site. Let's drop him down whatever number we're multiplying his views by. And that's really how the process works. So but I want you, I'd rather you share the post than not share the post. I want you to know that, well, sometimes that's I post a picture of a puppy and I got 1,000 views. And then I posted a link to my book and only got 10 views. I said this earlier and I'm not going to swear this time. Yeah, I get it. Of course, because the puppy, people liked it. They showed their friend. They looked at it again. Your book took people off the site. But those 10 views you got from the site might have also led to a sell. So I'm not saying don't do it, but you have to understand that puppy or the picture of your legs or the picture of that hamburger that looks so good, well, it's going to get more views. That doesn't mean that your piece of content, the podcast that you did so good on that you want to share it, but understand the puppy's going to get more views. It is what it is. And don't be hurt by it. Okay, let's see. Not the smartest guys in the room. We do this every Wednesday. We have a club. Join the club. You'll get notified of the rooms when we set them up. Sometimes we do it last minute. We don't mean to do that. Sometimes I set them up a month in advance. We're going to go to Jack, see if Jack has any questions. He's Jack of all trades, a man without a vision. I'm reading his bio. A man without a vision. I'm working on my reading, on my reading out loud. So let me do this appropriately. Okay. A man without a vision is a man without a future. A man without a future will always return to his past. That's how I want to read it. Jack, what's going on, my friend? Ask a question, drop a tip, weigh in on any of these subjects. Go on.
Going once, going twice. Oh, you're on mute, Dom. I can't hear you.
Okay, I said, hold on. We're giving Jack a chance. Jack's going to have to, you got a little microphone. You got to push the microphone, turn it on and off if you wanted to tackle that subject. If not, you want to give the countdown, Tom? Going once, going twice.
I mean, I was just saying, because there was a healthy pause there. So I was just, I was chiming in with a countdown to give Jack a minute. Since it doesn't seem like Jack of all trades is going to come off mute right this second, I did want to just throw in to the mix. I know Simon is most likely it's kind of mid-afternoon for Simon over in the UK, and or early evening. What is it? 6 hours? They're 6 hours ahead of us, so it's later afternoon. But anyway, he can't always hop on up on the stage with us, but he and I were going back and forth in the chat, and I just found out that Simon has run 127 marathons, which is freaking insane. That is, and this is coming from an Ironman triathlete. I think that's nuts. Like, that is an incredible amount of training and consistent tenacity to be able to accomplish something like that. He's also getting ready to or training to take he put adult scooter. I'm assuming he just means an adult sized scooter. From coast to coast in England, which is about 170 miles, where he's going to do it. And it's only been done once. And then he just casually dropped in. And then I'm going to return to marathons to add to the 127. And I was like, whoa, pump the brakes there, buddy. 127? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I'm training right now for my first standalone marathon. And I have some pretty lofty goals around that. I'm aiming to run a sub 3:30 marathon. I should be able to, if everything goes well with the rest of my training, I stay injury free. My paces are all pretty good and sort of where they need to be to sort of make that a reality. And my sub goal. So my main goal is to run sub 3:30. My sub goal is to BQ, which any runners, any marathoners will understand means Boston qualify. So there's like two ways to get into the Boston Marathon. You can either qualify because you ran fast enough, and you ran a qualifying time, or you can get in as a fundraiser. And for like pure runners, as far as they're concerned, the only real way to get into the Boston Marathon is to qualify. And so, like, for me, for my age group, believe it or not, I'm 44 years old. For my age group, to qualify for the Boston Marathon, you have to run a sub 3:20, which is crazy fast. That means I would have to.
What's that breakdown to? Yeah, give us per mile.
Yeah, so it means I would have to average about 738 to 739 a mile for 26.2 miles. So And Simon just said, he said in the chat, he said, thanks. It's always been to raise awareness of mental illness, which I think is amazing. And also, I cannot overstate the value for mental health of exercise. Right. And I know this is something this is a soapbox that I've climbed on before and I will continue to climb on. But seriously, like if you find yourself struggling, if you find yourself feeling depressed, especially as we go into sort of the darkest months of the year, right, where there's the least amount of daylight here in the Northern Hemisphere, right? If you find that seasonal affective disorder, which is a real thing kicking in, and you find yourself feeling a little bit more depressed, go for a walk, right? Like get out and move. You cannot overestimate the value of that endorphin release you get from exercise and the value that it has for positive mental health. I can't overstate it. I'm telling you right now that like when and now I've gone to the other direction. When I don't work out for a day, I actually like kind of feel a little bit off, right? Because I've gotten myself so hooked on the endorphin release from the exercise that I do that I actually, if I don't work out for a day, I kind of feel a little bit off. But I cannot overstate, you don't have to be a marathoner. You don't have to be an Ironman triathlete. You can literally just go out for a walk. Just go out for a walk, get your heart rate up a little bit, push yourself a little bit, get a little bit of a sweat going, under your jacket. I went out and did a run this morning. It was like 30 degrees when I went out running. So I was obviously wearing a jacket and long pants and stuff. So like, but get outside and go for a walk. And I can't overstate it enough. But yeah. And Simon says like in the chat, pure and simple, I'll read exactly what he says. It's kept me from taking my life. Right. That is how powerful exercise is, how powerful a positive impact it can have on mental health. So like, I will espouse that to like my last day, get out, move, be active. It's not just good for your body and your overall general health. It is incredible. It is like rocket fuel for your mental health. So like, if you feel yourself getting a little down, get outside and move. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to highlight that because I saw that in the chat and I was like, that is such an astounding accomplishment of Simon's that I have to talk about it because it is just incredible to run 127 marathons of varying lengths. So yeah, well done, Simon. Kudos to you from an athlete, from a fellow athlete, but also for the reason why you've done it to raise awareness about mental health. Huge kudos there too. So well done, my friend. Thanks for being here. And thanks for sharing that in the chat. Really appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it.
Hey, Tom, I heard that the other day about Simon. We do a motivational room on Monday and he mentioned that and we were blown away. But one thing I wanted to add to every storyteller in this room, that there are so many great ways to share your story. So many powerful ways to impact other people. So Simon going out on a run to raise attention for mental health, positive mental health, to raise attention for suicide awareness. You could go on a clubhouse. You could write a book. You could do a podcast. You could go for a run and show people, look, I've done 130 of these. And now people are looking up to this guy because he's out there. He's doing it. He's a voice for good. So you said soapbox. I say stump sometimes. So I say get out there and share your story by whatever means necessary, whether you have to run 130 races like Simon or stand on a stump or soapbox, as Tom, soapbox. Why a soapbox? I need some clarification. Where does this come from?
I believe it comes from and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe it comes from, I'm not clear on the exactly what time period it's from, but it's from people sort of rallying and organizing groups in public and like where the speaker would actually stand up on a box to sort of raise them up a little bit, where they didn't have a stage, sort of impromptu gatherings. It may have been for labor strikes. I'm not 100% clear on it, but it was basically they would stand up on a box, and that box was often a soap box. It was a wooden crate that soap came in, and that's what they would. So that's where the term came from, I believe. If anybody wants to correct me, by all means, as we've mentioned, not the smartest guy in the room. So if anybody knows better, but I think that's where it came from, and I can Google it in a second. But I just want to throw to our friend Jack of all trades. Hopped into the chat and said he wanted to add something on what I was talking about with exercise and mental health, coming off the back end of Simon sharing his accomplishments and his journey through both of those things. So Jack of all trades, the floor is yours, my friend. What do you want to share?
Hey, what's up, guys? Hello, Tom. Thank you for having me on this room. I was listening to what you were saying before about how exercise is really, really essential for mental health and improvement, and I couldn't agree more. I'm currently doing the challenge 75 hard. Has anyone here heard about 75 hard? The 75 hard challenge? If so, just let me know in the chat if you've heard of it. It's a great challenge. So basically, this challenge is a mental toughness challenge, and it's helped me get in a routine. It's helped me grow, and it's made me overall happier. So basically, what this mental toughness challenge is for 75 days straight, you've got to do two 45-minute workouts a day. You've got to read 10 pages of a book a day. You've got to drink a gallon of water, and you can't have any alcohol or cheat meals. I'm telling you, the day I started this challenge, I've been more motivated than I've ever been before, because it's helped put me in a routine. And when you're in a routine, you're more productive. I've started waking up at 8 a.m. As soon as I wake up, I get my mat and I stretch, I meditate, and I do a quick workout. And because I do that in the morning, I wake up and I stretch straight away. It gets my blood flowing, and then it sets me up for the day. It makes me motivated to actually do stuff in the day. I mean, if you wake up halfway through the day and you're feeling crap and you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna stay in bed today, I'm gonna watch some YouTube, then you'll notice that pattern repeats throughout the whole day. If you wake up and you start your day unmotivated, you will be unmotivated for the rest of the day. So, if you set a routine for yourself, if you're doing the challenge like me, you wake up, you do something as soon as you wake up, whether it's meditating, whether it's stretching, or something which just gets your blood flowing. If you do that, you will be more productive and you will be happier. I have been the happiest I've ever been while doing this mental challenge. It's helping me keep fit. It's helping me learn new stuff every day by reading, and I couldn't stress how much that exercise in that challenge helps you. Exercise. It's so like if you're having a bad day, go out for a run. You'll feel better. If something's bothering you, I do a hour workout. I have a bad day, I do an hour workout. I feel better after that hour workout. And yeah, if you haven't heard of 75 Hard, then definitely look it up. There's been so many success stories from that challenge. I'm almost halfway through the challenge. I think I've actually just passed my 5th week. So I've been doing this for 5 weeks right now, straight. So as soon as I hit 75, that'll be the challenge done. But I'm not going to stop there. I'm going to go on to a different challenge after that. I'm going to go to the next level. It's all about constantly pushing yourself, constantly going for bigger and bigger goals. Because if you hit goals and then you say, oh, I've just hit this goal, then great, I've just hit it. What am I going to do now? That's not the way to go. You've got to hit goals, and then you've got to hit even bigger goals after that. And it's all about self-improvement. It's all about pushing yourself every single day. Sorry, I'm sort of going off right now, but I've got so much positivity I want to get off my chest, so I'm getting it off in this room. But also, what does substitute to pushing yourself and self-improvement is constantly stepping out of your comfort zone. So there's a comfort zone, there's a stretch zone, and there's a panic zone. So the comfort zone is what you're comfortable with doing now. The stretch zone is, I'm not quite sure of doing this. And the panic zone is, oh my God, why am I doing this? What's going to happen if I do this? And then you start panicking about it. So what you've got to do, you've got to constantly step out of your comfort zone. If you see something, if you have an opportunity to do something which would break you out of that comfort zone. For example, yesterday I was in a room. I don't know if I think some people were in this room with me here. I'm not sure. I think Jack was in it. Jackie, yeah, she was in the room. I think. It was 10 ways to make your first million. And Grant Cardone actually came into the room with us. He was spreading some great, valuable information. And I thought to myself, like, it's only really Eric talking to Grant here. Like, he's the only person which is talking to him. There's so many other people in this room. There was like 250 people in the room talking to, just listening to Grant. And I got invited up as a speaker because I do quite a lot in that room. I'm very privileged to have that. But I thought, I'm in a room right now with a guy who has made billions in real estate. Like, you don't get an opportunity like this every day to speak to someone on that level. So I took the shot. I said, "Hey Grant, I've got a question for you," and he answered, and he was like, "Sure, what's your question?" And just by doing that and stepping out of my comfort zone, I'm not scared to go into rooms now and speak to people like that, speak to really big people, because I've already done it. Now that I've done that, I was nervous. Of course, I was nervous, but because I did that, I'm more confident now. It's grown me. It's helped improve me. So I asked a question. I said to Grant Cardone, I said to him, so what is the book which influenced you the most and which you would want to share with people in this room right now? And he said, actually, I'm going to get the book up right now. I didn't catch them all, but he said the books Richest Man in Babylon and Modern Science of Mental Health. And then he said some things about Rich Dad Poor Dad too, which were very interesting. But the point is, I saw the opportunity and I took it. I didn't procrastinate. I just took it. And it's about being an action taker. Don't procrastinate. If you see an opportunity, take it. Take it straight away. Like I said before, you don't have opportunities that you do on Clubhouse anywhere else. On Clubhouse, you get opportunities to speak to people like that. So if anybody listening in on this room right now ever get the opportunity to speak to someone of that level, take it. Always take it. I've been going for a while now, so I'm gonna drop the mic. But yeah, let me know, and thanks for having me on here.
Hey, Jack, man, thanks for the message, stepping out of your comfort zone, taking the chance, taking the shot. It's the Wayne Gretzky. I think he says you miss 99% of the shots you don't take. You miss 99% of the shots you don't take. So thanks for the reminder.
Isn't it 100%?
Yeah, is it 100? Yeah, I guess. See,
Because how can you make a shot if you never take it, right?
Yeah,
You
do
can't.
not even clip that. Do not clip that. Okay, let's meet our fly fishing friend. Okay, Brandon, Charlie, Chris, anybody you want to come up, raise your hand, or we'll call you up. I mean, do your thing. We always love having you guys.
I want Chris.
Fishing
I'm
friend.
gonna call out Chris. Chris is my friend who often would watch us on Facebook and comment and ask questions. That's my friend Chris from Maine, the dog behaviorist extraordinaire, and the guy that I adopted Batman from, one of my dogs. So yeah, I'm gonna call out Chris. Chris, get up here and say something smart. I know you're capable.
And I like his profile picture. It's a cool profile picture. So it makes me look at it and want to read the bio. If anybody listens to our live stream or something like that, if you're not on Clubhouse, it's a social audio app. You should, if you're on, make sure you have a profile picture. You don't want to just be a ghost. That's what they say on Facebook or any of those things. When you don't have a picture, your profile appears to look like a ghost. And you should get yourself a bio so that people know that you're not just on there to try to you're a bot or you're going to try to sell them something. You should have a little bio that at least tells a little bit about you. So to our fly fishing friend L, where do you stand on all this? What's going on with you?
Good morning, you guys. I haven't seen you in a minute.
No, that makes us sad too, but we're happy today when we see you. So thank you.
Oh, I'm loving this conversation. I've long been a proponent of getting up in the morning and working out. It's not just something that's nice and you knock it out of your day. It is literally, I think I heard somebody say jet fuel. It is. I get up about 5 every morning. I do a little meditation in the morning first. I do ease into the workout. I don't just head right into the workout, but my best days are when I stay on schedule. I live in the north. It gets cold. Like I'm looking outside in my office window right now. It's a little gray. It's a little cloudy. I feel energized. I've already worked out today. I'm ready to tackle the day. And I stay pretty energized then throughout the day. I sleep better. Um, for me, it's like medicine. That's how serious exercise is to me. Um, Seasonal affective disorder is a thing that I do struggle with, and I know it. And this is like God's medicine. I mean, it is nature's medicine, and it is always there. It's readily available. There are no side effects except good ones. And I'm just loving the conversation. And Jack of all trades, I loved your talk about, here on Clubhouse, getting to have these conversations with all kinds of people and taking in just the rich stories and people are willing to share here too, like real struggles, what they did to overcome them. I mean, I know there are places on Clubhouse that aren't this edifying, but when you find places that are, soak that up. It's medicine to the soul. It really is. But I just want to thank you, Dom and Tom, for Dominic and Tom. I haven't been on in a while, and I'm just glad when I get to pop in here. Anyway, I hope everybody has a good day.
Oh, so nice of you to say. She said she hadn't been here for a while, and then she comes and lifts all our spirits. So thank you. You said some kind words to Jack and to all of us. So we appreciate you being here. And it is a great place to connect. I've made so many, I really would consider them friends on this app, like people that, speaking of which, my friend Charlie is right in my list. And he's right above you. Me and Charlie went and had lunch one day, and then we went and walked around the campus of Penn State. We met on this app. This is like a love story. We met on this app. We talked on the phone. Then we had lunch, and then we went on a bromance date around Penn State, and we had great conversation. Man, I love the guy. Now I would probably fight for the guy if somebody said something about him. So that's the truth. So thank you, Al. So we're gonna hit Joyce. Joyce had her hand raised, and we're gonna hit our friend Charlie. So Joyce, what did you want to say before?
Good morning. I love the new name. I think it's great. I feel connected to it, so keep going with it. And I was just thinking about the whole pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and the exercise. And I did just do that bike trip. I did a bike trip through the mountains of Greece, which was way outside my comfort zone. I don't think I'll ever become a triathlete or, but I'm a 57-year-old woman, and I was doing this like outside work, and the whole, especially feeling connected to my spouse. This was a good one. So my kids are, we're empty nesters now, and we were training for this great vacation, and it was such a great thing for us after work every day. We had to do it. It wasn't like I could be like, I'm tired or I've had too much work. We're like every day after work we got and we did something. We walked and we rode our bikes, and it just really helped and kind of ease us into like, where we are now. Now it's dark and cold here in New England, but I still play tennis and I do all that. So yeah, I just wanted to encourage that, and my cannabis stuff. So it all works together. Really what I want to talk about. Thanks.
Joyce, thank you very much. We appreciate you always, and on your cannabis journey as well. We appreciate you sharing that with us on what's going on in that world. So Thank you. Keep telling your story, like we were talking about Simon before. Simon ran 130 marathons to raise awareness for what he's talking about. So get out there and share your story. Charlie, man, here's a guy sharing his story. Everybody sharing his story. People are watching. They want more Charlie, man. You need to do like a maybe when you get off the air after an hour, you need to do like a 2 or a 3 hour one, since people are sticking the whole time. So what do you got going on, Charlie?
Hello, everybody. Great stuff going on. I've been invited into a lot of people's living rooms to talk to their families after I wrote the book 14th and 2nd. And I want to say that the story that I have turned into a love story. And it turned into a love story from simply a rescued dog that was reported to have died. And now that dog inspired me to write a book. And now, when people say it's only a dog, well, now I'm in the living room of people's homes that are having decades old fights with children, spouses, and they've invited me in to try to mend the fences, to be a moderator, to be someone that would listen to both sides and allow family members to vent. And that was surely not happening when I was a trash provider and working on building up a bigger and bigger trash company. And just a lot of great things are happening. I mean, Lassie and Rin Tin Tin in Wikipedia, but Star, a one-eyed pit bull, made it into Wikipedia. And they may have great stories, both of those dogs, but it's 2022. And what better story than have a one-eyed pit bull that was embraced by America, that became part of the Alzheimer's walks to encourage people on a walk that there's no survivors. No one survives Alzheimer's, but our dog gave the family something to hug and something to focus on, and more dogs started coming on these walks. I'm very happy, Dominic, where I've landed because I'm in service finally to others. I spent a life in survival mode and I didn't really know what my needs were because I over qualified what my needs were and I gained a bunch of weight and had a bunch of extra cars in the garage and had too many square feet. But I finally understand that for someone that has my issues, I'm a human being, not a human doing, that being in service and connecting with other human beings gives me a great night's sleep. I'm really living my best life right now. And it really happened right here on Clubhouse. I think it happened on Wednesday, and it was about 7, 8, 9 months ago. I had a manuscript I never published. I went on one podcast and then I never went on another one. I come on this group, I get inspired, and I published a book. And that one podcast that I only had 300 views on, the podcast talked about it yesterday. They did a recap of the last year. And now I've got a YouTube podcast with 5.5 million views on it. So this is what happens when you come here and you're available, and you guys all poured into me. And I was not going to be a clubhouse bandit. That's an original. I was not going to be a clubhouse bandit and take all the good golden nuggets and harbor them for myself. I went back and I'm able to help others. As you guys know, I'm big into the rescues. And I'm big into the rescues affecting humans because it's just more than a dog. I mean, I've never seen I mean, sometimes I'm going to land my plane with this. Sometimes humans get a little too crazy with the dogs or the animals. When they say, well, I don't care for humans, I only like animals. Well, I've never seen a dog pay his property taxes. We need good, healthy relationships. And I think it's Al down there or Chris. No, Chris. That is a perfect photo there. That is the truth. Because in Italy, they outlawed the pit bulls, then they outlawed the Cane Corsos, then they outlawed the Great Danes. Then they finally had to get rid of the Dalmatians to realize that breedism doesn't work. Dangerous dog laws work, training, and it's usually the person with the two legs holding the leash that's the issue. And I'm going to drop my mic. Thanks, everybody.
Charlie, man, welcome back, and it's nice to hear the fire in you, and I can feel that. I think we can all feel it. That service route you're taking is you, man. I can see that it's um, filling your soul. Why do you think so many people are identifying with a guy from New York City that was a trash man that had a dog, what is it with the message? Because I see people identifying with it of all races, colors, sizes, creeds. What is it that you think made you so identifiable to everybody?
Because I'm easily identifiable as an imperfect man. I spill food when I eat. I don't have a perfect hairline. I don't pronounce words all perfect. I'm a man that has struggled but improved, and I can understand human beings because, Dominic, I've worked 3 maximum security prisons, and I am against throwing the key away. Okay, I'm against the death penalty. I want prisons to own their mission statement, and I want people to heal when they go to prison. Okay, you don't hear that from politicians. I want them to heal because they're still human beings. And unfortunately, the public only hears the worst of the worst, the Charlie Manson types. There's a lot of brothers and sisters that are regular folks that got jammed up either on marijuana, they got jammed up with alcohol, pills. There's a whole host of reasons people go to prison. And we need to get these folks back out and productive so they can carry a message. And I think people can tell that that is my story. I mean, I've got the story of one time being homeless, then going from being homeless to working in the prison to making a multi-state trash business. I've done it all for everybody. I've gone out there and tried to remedy my hurt with money. It didn't work. But now on these podcasts, I'm telling people it's a wonderful life. Happiness is under your roof. Comparison is the thief of joy. Stay off of Instagram if it makes you feel bad, and start focusing on the little things that'll make you happy. Because if you're happy, you're going to put that into the stream of life for others. Thank you.
Charlie, man, we're feeling it from you, brother. So keep up the good work. I'm glad to hear you. Yeah, we can almost hear your smile, I think. So yeah, keep it up, Charlie. Hey, okay, Tom, you set the bar up here. Chris, your friend Tom put a lot of pressure on you here. He said that Chris watched the live stream, and then he says you got this picture. Charlie talked about your picture. So, Tom, you want to introduce this guy and put more pressure on him? What do you got?
No, I don't think we need to put more pressure on him. Just welcome to the stage, Chris, and make sure whatever you say is smart. No, you gonna unmute Chris?
Yeah, unmute. That's the
He's
button.
He's brand new to Clubhouse,
which is great. We want, like my friend June one day, he downloaded the app just so he could come on that day, and he came on and he was like, I'm not sure how to do this. And then he delivered like some touching stuff about stepping out of his comfort zone and living his life. So Chris, yeah, if you want to, Chris, you got to unmute. That's a little thing on there's a microphone on the far right and it will unmute you. Have at it, man. Give them a, so, and then if you can't figure it out right now, just in a minute flash, and we'll go on to our man Greg here. I wonder if this is Greg's picture. If it is Greg's picture, he's got a sweet handlebar mustache. So I respect the stash. Your stash game is strong. Military veteran, thank you for your service. Huge Buffalo Bills fan. I'm a Steeler fan, and you guys have been kicking my butt lately. So my neighbor watches Buffalo Bill games. He has a screen in the back of his house, and like he invites all these people over, loves the Bills, and it's this big screen. And recently they played the Steelers and they kicked our butt. And at about halftime, he invited me over to watch the game, and I responded, not a chance. Was I going over there to watch while they were celebrating? So, Greg, man, what do you got? If you have a question, drop a tip. We talk about all things media, publishing, books, social media, even fitness. We don't know where we're going to go. What drinks, coffee? So, Greg, if you'd like to jump in, have at it, my friend.
Hey, thanks for inviting me on the stage. No, I'm just L's stalker is all. I just follow around everywhere. And no.
Hi, Greg.
Hey, no, I am an author. I'm a veteran. That is my mustache. I'm a huge Bills fan, and anybody who is a Bills fan knows it's fun when we win, but when it comes down to winning what's important, it seems to always go the other way, and so it's a tough road to hoe to be a Bills fan. That's for sure. But I'm an author. I got some books out. I got two right now that I think are a necessity in our country today and everything that we're going through. I'm not for sure what your platform is, but if you want me to talk about them, I can.
Well, so here's what we do, brother. In this room, we talk all things Clubhouse, publishing, social media. So what I would like, since you're a published author, we'll go down the author page of just give a tip for somebody that is thinking about writing a book, because you've done it twice now. You have a message you believe in. If somebody else wanted to write a book, what should they do?
Well, the first thing is be very weary of self-publishers that are out there and what they promise you. When I first got started, I was scammed twice, actually, and I got frustrated with it. And so traditional publishing is outstanding, but you once you submit your manuscripts to all the traditional publishers, it takes forever for them to look at it, and then even if they do look at it, they might not even return a call. So it's a tough way to go that way. But self-publishing is still your best bet. You just have to really do your due diligence on finding the right self-publisher, and there's plenty out there that are legitimate, but just be very wary in doing so.
Greg, good advice, man. I'm in that space and I see every day and that's actually how I got started in this space. When I published my first book, I found a publisher and I made every mistake there was, sold my rights, made 20 cents a book, everything you could do wrong. I pretty much believed everything they said. And I thought, well, I'm not going to do business like that. So Greg's advice, if you're going to go down that path, one, if you're going to do it completely yourself, study. It could be less expensive. It could also be the most expensive thing you ever did if it's less than the quality that you wanted. But if you're going to go down that hybrid or whatever path, make sure you look at those contracts, make sure you talk to other people, make sure you've seen the work that publisher is putting out. Where are they even at? Are they in Canada? Sometimes people publish it, and if you could be in Canada, and that's great. But sometimes you publish with a publisher in a different country, and they can't even get the books to where you're at, or you have to pay these exorbitant fees to even ship them to the area you're at. So there are a lot of things. They make you buy 1,000 books. They make you buy so many of them. You don't get royalties until you sell whatever amount. You never get royalties. So Greg, man, appreciate you bringing that subject up. Now let's go back to our friend Chris.
One second, Don, while we're on the subject, we'll go back to Chris in a second. He messaged me. He said he thinks he figured it out. So we're going to give him another chance in a second, but very quickly, while we're on this subject, Enrique Balcazar in the chat asked if you could recommend a good self-publisher, and if you can't, if you don't want to like single somebody out, other than obviously your own company, obviously you can feel free to tout yourself there, but as a publisher yourself, but was also looking for like what kind of terms should people be looking for when they're self-publishing or when they're publishing a book? Like what kind of things should people be wary of or just aware of when they're looking to publish, especially self-publishing or working with a small independent publisher?
Okay, love this subject, and this is the world I live in all day long, every day, and I get into the weeds like our friend Heather of when she was talking hashtags. This is how I feel about these deals. There could be a deal that's right for everybody. Like when I was young and sold all my rights to my first book, I had no money. The only way this book was going to get made was to sell my rights because they paid all the costs for me. So on one hand, looking back at it 10 years later, it was a bad deal because now they want $5,000-$10,000 for the rights to the book. So it's a book that I don't own. They made all the money on. But at that point, it launched me in a way. So I think you really have to understand what contract it is you're looking for and why. So something to look at. One, do I have to buy the books off of them? How much are the books I'm buying off of them? What is the wholesale cost? What does that mean? So is that publisher really making $1, $2 on every book, $5 on every book? Well, you might say, well, hey, they got to do some work here. That's fine. How much money are they making on that book? Then in other case, they might say no royalties for you until you hit 500 books. Well, if you were going to make, let's say on Amazon, you were going to make $6 a book or whatever, $6, $8 a book, and you don't get any money from them until you sold 500 books. So that means 600 books or $6 a book or $8 a book, 500, that's $3,000 or $4,000 that they made extra on you before you made a buck. So there's some ownership things that I really want to know. And I really want my authors to have full ownership of their books, unless somebody, like Greg said about the traditional deals. I do traditional deals. I finance stuff for people, but it's a whole different game. And then we need to figure out why would you do that? So last example I'm going to give you. Barack Obama uses Crown for his last book. Okay. So Barack Obama, whatever he paid or whatever they gave him, let's say they gave Barack Obama $10 million for your book. Hey, that's great money. They gave Barack Obama $10 million up front. Woohoo. Barack Obama could get on every show he wanted to get on. He doesn't need that publisher at all. He could have paid any independent publisher $1 million, $100,000, whatever number that he came up with. He could have gold plated his books. Instead, he uses that publisher. They give him 10 million, whatever they give him, and then they take 60%, 50% on every book. Really, if you're talking about the money play of it, it was not a smart play. Now, if you're saying in his case, well, presidents have to use this person or this person, yeah, that's all right. But when you go, like we're talking about contracts and stuff, wasn't the smart play. Hey, Greg, you were flashing. So what'd you want to add there?
Yeah, and it is just adding something. So, where I was taken on my first book was I was told that I was get 70% of the royalties, right? And I'm like outstanding. So you sign the contract and everything like that, and then once I got my first royalty check, I was getting 11 cents a copy that was being sold.
Hey,
And
I got 20. You were the first time 11. That's his shit.
I'm like,
Go
what
on.
the hell? So what it was that I didn't see, yeah, I got 70% of the royalties, but everything was taken out of my cut. So the printing cost was taken out of my cut. Everything was taken out of my cut. And I failed to see that. I was just excited. Here's a book, blah, blah, blah. But I learned. So make sure you read your contract.
Thing I'll give for Enrique, and then because we'll talk about this next week or go on, and I'd love to chat with anybody who ever wants to talk about that. DM me and we can set up a call and we'll steer you in the right direction. I always tell people we'll steer you in the right direction, whether it's with me, somebody else. There might, like you might do. One of my friends publishes books about horses, Horse Tales for the Souls. She only does books on horses and equestrian stuff. There's a publisher that's right for everybody. Somebody else might do haunted, books about paranormal. That might be your publisher, depending on your subject. You have to do the research and figure out, okay, what cost structure, how much was I willing to, did I want them to pay? Was there a publisher that really wants this kind of book? Maybe right now they're looking for books on it. Somebody out there is looking for books exactly on what you do, and they want to launch their company, and you've created something, and they're like, wow, as soon as we get a book on this, on paranormal vampires that are motivational, we're going to give them $1 million advance. It could happen. You don't know. So, sorry, I'm going off the rails here. Enrique, last thing I want to say: editing. Make sure they are giving you editors. Make sure you're paying for editors. I noticed one of the biggest players in the game has a self-publishing thing right now, and in it is clearly skipping editing. And it basically is like, we'll review your manuscript, but they miss. They aren't editing. Editing could cost thousands of dollars, and you need it. If you're going to pay money, spend your money there. Because if you, I'm a believer in consumability, and if you put out something that is not able to be consumed, you could have this great message, and nobody gets past page one. So, Tom, I'm leaving it at that. We could go on all day. I will not. So, thank you for picking up Enrique's question. And Greg, I appreciate you jumping in there. Hey, and we were going to try Chris again too. So, Tom, go.
All right, pressure's on, Chris. Can you unmute and can you say something smart? Go for it. Can we do it? Can we do it? Can we unmute? Chris, come on, buddy. Come on, buddy.
You know, you're being mean because if he can't get on, then he's never going to come back. So that's not nice of you. We are a
I'm not being
supportive group.
mean.
Being a little bit mean. Being a little bit mean.
Well, he's a friend of mine, and we've known each other for years. And I think he would probably say I'm not being mean because trust me, like the sort of he is a good enough friend of mine that the sort of level of mean we have been to each other and can be to each other in conversation is much worse than a little bit of pressure. But
some tough love for him. Tough love's good, you know.
Yeah. And actually, Chris has a
emojis. Look, he can make emojis there.
He put a skull up. What, you can figure out emojis, but you can't figure out how to unmute, man? Come on.
We have people that have been on the app a year that don't know about emojis. Tom, I think I'm calling it. This is the time of day where we put the pressure on Tom. Now Chris has to come back, and we do have a club, so you'll get it. We do a room every Wednesday, so it starts at 9:30 Eastern. We're thankful when you guys come by and drive the conversation, ask questions and stuff. So, Tom, have at it.
Thanks, man. So I don't know what's going on with Chris. He's figured out emojis. He's throwing up skulls and exclamation points, but apparently his thumbs can't reach the microphone button on his phone for some reason. But yeah, you know, this has been a fun week here for me. This Wednesday has been a fun Wednesday for a few reasons. One, obviously, we've switched things up. We've changed the name of the room, and I think the name is fitting, and I like it. And we've gotten some good feedback from folks over the course of the last hour and a half. Hour and 40 minutes, hour and 41 minutes that we've been in here. So I appreciate everybody being here as always. Dom and I, have been showing up in this space for about a year. We've been live broadcasting this around the internet for about 8 months now. And now today with this sort of particular rebranding, we are also launching a podcast out of this space. So we're gonna continue to share this room, this space, the expertise, the knowledge, the insight that all of the wonderful folks that come here and join us every week bring. And we will always continue to endeavor to remain to be not the smartest guys in the room, to surround ourselves, to fulfill the mission of that title, to not only have it be a statement of fact, but also a call to action to continue to surround ourselves with people who are smarter, people who are more experienced, and people that can help all of us grow. So thank you all for being here this week. Really appreciate it. Make sure you keep an eye out for the podcast. We'll share. Dom and I will both share that when we get it up and running. It may not be for a week or so we may be a little bit behind. I'm going to try to get this one up in the next couple of days, but we'll see. But either way, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for sharing your insight and brilliance and knowledge with us this week. And we can't wait to see you next Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Chris, we expect you to figure out how to unmute by that time. So next Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, we'll see you guys here with Dom and myself. We are not the smartest guys in the room. Until next week, bye everybody.